Right. Hi, my name is Ben Meyerson. I'm a student here at FSU. I'm a junior, and I'm a writer at our student newspaper, the FSView in Florida Flambeau. And today I'm joined by current assistant coach at FSU, Charlton Young. He was a former head coach and player at Georgia Southern, as well as the 1992 Trans-American Atlantic Conference MVP, as well as you had coaching stops at Auburn and Georgia Tech. So first of all, Coach, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. And, I would say usually these conversations happen because I reach out to the athletic department or something like that. But you and I actually got to know each other over last semester because of a professor of mine. And
All right.
so I want to give a shout out to him. He was supposed to join us today, but unfortunately he couldn't, Dr. Davis Huck. So first off, Coach, I just want to ask how you're doing. I know the season just ended, so it's a bit of a downer, but this was a really unique year. How did you handle it, and how are you doing right now?
Man, that's a great question. The season was really, really tough, really difficult. Um, Obviously, we're dealing with the pandemic, which is something that we never seen before, never thought we would see. Uh, I never thought I'd see the day where people were walking around with masks on 24/7 and trying to coach games with masks. Um, I think all the teams, all the kids that participated in Division I basketball, they should be celebrated um, to no end because it was so difficult uh, just to get through the season. I don't think people uh, can ever understand. I don't think they can ever understand the effects of COVID and all the stipulations and guidelines that were put in place because of COVID. Um, I'll give you an example. We were at the NCAA tournament. We were at the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament. We were in the ACC tournament bubble for about a week and a half. We went straight from the ACC bubble to the NCAA tournament bubble. Obviously, we won some games and we were there for a while. So we were there about 3 weeks. So in the last month, our team, MJ Walker, Raquan Gray, Wyatt Wilkes, all the guys on our team, in the last month, they probably had 4 minutes and 58 seconds of sunlight in a month.
Yeah.
The only time we were able to go outside was a couple times we had to go to different locations for practice, and we were able to walk outside to the bus, off the bus to the gym, back on the bus, boom, and then we were in a bubble, convention center, hotel, arenas, and practice facilities connected to it. Couldn't go outside to get food. They brought you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it got to the point where we would walk outside to the bus, and the entire travel party would be like, sunlight. Oh, I can feel it on my face. And what people don't realize is it takes an effect on you. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. It just the human body is not meant for that. Like it's something about it that doesn't feel natural. And when the season was over, I didn't realize how much it affected me. Like when we lost, we flew back in like 2:30 in the morning. I went to bed after we lost to Michigan. We got back, and I woke up like 2 o'clock the next day. Like I didn't even know where I was.
Yeah.
And for the next 2 weeks, maybe 2.5, 3 weeks, I really struggled to get going, like getting a routine, the energy, and I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to say it was depression, but there definitely was some type of effect from being on lockdown, basically for the last. I mean, our kids were on lockdown from May.
Yeah.
June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 10 months.
Wow.
Tough. So you got to have a tremendous amount of commitment to the program, to the university, to this sport, to your team. Most people, they're not going to make that type of commitment. Like, if you wanted to be involved with basketball this year, you basically had to say, hey, I'm giving up my life.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's something very noble about that. I mean, they should be commended. Couldn't go to the restaurant with their girlfriends, couldn't go to the beach, couldn't go to a restaurant and have a meal, couldn't leave the premises. For 10 months, it was practice, film, weights, games, meals together. And so that's what I'm going to remember about this season, about the group of young men and people that were committed, that really understood the word commitment. Not many people understand the word commitment. And that goes to our support staff. I think the most valuable player in the university may be our athletic trainer. Her name is Amanda Robinson. She is phenomenal. I think she's a future AD. I mean, her ability to critical think, to communicate, to manage people, have the ability to show up every day. I mean, this young lady, Amanda Robinson, I mean, if I had to give you advice today, if I was you, you should do a feature story on Amanda Robinson. You really should. Mm-hmm. Like, the people at Florida State need to know Amanda Robinson and the impact that she had this year, being our liaison, our COVID administrator. Now, and our administration did a great job. You know, David Corbin, Vanessa Fuchs, you know, they did a good job too. But the person that was in the trenches every day managing us was Amanda Robinson, and she was phenomenal. I mean, Mike Bradley, our strength coach, Chuck Walsh, our SID. I mean, all these people had to be committed.
Yeah. No, and no, and you're right. I mean, that is huge. Just that commitment, and just, you know, dealing with everything this year. I couldn't even imagine, you know, all those kids just having to not live their normal college life, and, you know, at the young age they are having to do what they do. It's really impressive to me. I mean, I know I don't know if I would have had that kind of self-control, you know.
Hey, college life, period. And I'm gonna tell you something. College life, but life, period.
Yeah.
90% of the population would have quit.
Yeah.
Would have said, hey, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. No. And like, and you're right. I think, you know, a lot of people wouldn't have been able to go through what those kids have gone through this year. It must have just been insane. But I do have another question for you. I wanted to ask, you know, I like I mentioned in my introduction, you're a former player. You played at Georgia Southern, but Coach, you're not even the best basketball player in your family. Is that right?
As a matter of fact, I'm the worst player in my house. And my wife is an Olympian, played in the WNBA, played in the Pan Am Games, had a long career. My oldest daughter plays at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. My baby daughter her name is Adia Young. She's being recruited by a bunch of high major schools. I have two sons in the 8th and 9th grade that are just kind of starting to develop, but definitely ahead of me at the same stage and better than I was. So, yeah, you got to have a tremendous amount of humility to be me. I'm a Hall of Fame player and probably going to have my jersey retired at my university where I played. And I have to accept every day that I'm the worst player in my house. But it's okay. You know what I mean? I got the genes. You know what I mean?
I hear
I got the genes. So, but that is a very accurate statement.
Yeah. But definitely a certain level of humility when you get home every day, I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
And my baby daughter reminds me of it all the time, too. So
oh,
she's the worst trash talker in my family. And I didn't think anybody would be worse than me, but my baby daughter is worse than I am. So she lets me know all the time that I'm a scrub player, that I played at little old Georgia Southern, and that I'm nothing in life. So,
but even within that, Coach, I have some more questions, but I just remembered there was that video that went viral back over Thanksgiving. I think was it Sadar Calhoun who you're playing one-on-one with, right?
It was Sadar Calhoun.
Okay.
It was Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
And you know how everybody in our camp was competitors, and so everybody started jabbing it. And next thing I know, I'm in a full-out tussle with Sadar Calhoun, which I'm 50 years old with a bad back. I don't need to be doing that.
No.
And I felt it in the morning, but that's just say some of my skills came back under pressure.
Okay.
So I had some good moments.
Well, no, that's really funny, and that video was going all around. I'm sure Sadar was getting flack from the other guys on the team for that.
Hey, and he's getting flack from everybody, and I got a couple more clips that I could have put out there.
Oh, you do?
But he paid me not to put the videos out, so I can't put them out because he gave me his lunch money. And I'm joking when I say.
Okay, but hey, if you were back out there again right now, you could still take Sadar, right?
Oh yeah, no question. It only if I do my yoga that morning. Okay. If I don't do my yoga, then I can't. I'm not loose enough. But if I do my yoga, I can hang in there with the young fellas.
Okay.
I think I got about. I turned 50 on August 15th. I think I got about 4 or 5 more good years left of pickup basketball. I'm gonna try. And my body starts to hurt now. At 55, I'm just going all golf, straight golf.
Straight golf.
Right? Yeah, it's over.
Well, you guys were doing that a lot at the tournament, or golfing at the tournament too. When you had the break, I think in between the Sweet 16 and the round of 32, you guys went to a Top Golf place in Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, and the NCAA did it for now. That's another thing I want to talk about too. I want to make sure this is Leonard Hamilton trying to call and text me now. I'm trying to tell him I'm finishing up a Zoom. I get right back to him. But the NCAA did an unbelievable job of putting on that bubble and having a tournament. I was amazed at how, and it was a lot. And I know some people complained about things here and there,
right?
But for the most part, for them to give us an opportunity to play and give those young men, even young ladies, an opportunity to play, the people who orchestrated and organized, strategized, and did whatever they had to do to put on a tournament, they did a great job. Yeah, they did a great job. It was well thought out, well planned. Everybody was safe. We had no COVID issues, no positives.
And then I think the only situation that even happened was VCU, I think it was believed, who got knocked out of the tournament.
Which kind of shocked me. Because it was so airtight. So, no, it was good.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. And speaking of Leonard Hamilton, though, when I was doing my research on you're from Miami. You're a Carroll City High guy. When you were coming out of school, was there any chance of you going with Leonard Hamilton when you were a college recruit?
Great question. Our relationship started then. Most people don't know that, but
really?
it's kind of he still pokes me pretty good. Hold on, my phone rings every 8 seconds. I apologize. Okay, I apologize. Everybody's calling. I got my Zoom set up on my phone, so all these calls are coming in. I apologize. But I graduated from Miami Carroll City in 1989. Leonard Hamilton got the job at Miami 1990. So the year after I signed with Georgia Southern, I was already gone. He came to Miami. Now, in the summers, I would come home and play in the big Miami Pro-Am. And I was a freshman a year in the league. And coming back to Dade County, when he just got the job, a lot of people were championing Leonard Hamilton in the Miami community. They loved him as soon as he touched down. And all his guys, his backers, they saw me in the summer league. They was like, listen, you got to come home. You know, you got to transfer back to Miami. So I started having dialogue with these guys who were speaking on behalf of Leonard Hamilton because he couldn't contact me. But long story short, I seriously considered, you know, leaving Georgia Southern, even after having a great freshman year, and transferring back home to Miami. And at the last second, I decided not to do it. And to this day, he always says, man, you should have came with me. We would have turned around quicker. I needed you, this. And you know, I look back on it. I probably did the right thing. But sometimes I do wish that I could say, hey, I played for Leonard Hamilton, because to be honest with you, I should have. And Miami was recruiting me.
Really?
When they had Bill Foster and Clint Bryant, but Miami wasn't very good. Like they weren't in a conference.
Right. This was before they were in the Big East.
They were independent. They didn't have an arena. And in the city, let's just say Miami football had a great reputation. Miami basketball, when you were from Miami, it was like, yeah, can't go to Miami. Like, that's terrible, right? You know, at the time when I signed with Georgia Southern had Jeff Sanders, who had just got drafted by the Chicago Bulls, Mike Curry, who played 14 years with the Detroit Pistons and was the head coach there, Frank Kearns in '87. They had just lost at the buzzer to Syracuse in the tournament. So they were one of the hot mid-majors, you know, like Oral Roberts or VCU, or, you know, and they had pros, you know. And so I said, hey, this is where I'm going. And, you know, I visited Colorado State, South Florida, Tulane. And those were the schools. I kind of was a late bloomer and kind of blew up late. But no question, if Leonard Hamilton had been at Miami in '89 instead of '90, my mom would have let me stay home in Miami. Me coming out of Carroll City, the neighborhood I'm from, my mother really wanted me to get out of Miami and grow. And growing up in the inner city of Miami, most of the kids, when they come out, they go to other places. So, but it's amazing how even though I didn't sign with him, years later when I finished playing pro ball and I got into coaching, he immediately grabbed me and just kind of started mentoring me, and we built our relationship. So I met Leonard Hamilton when I was 19, and I'm 49 years old now. That's crazy.
That is pretty crazy. 30 years later now, that's pretty nuts.
Time flies. Met him when I was 19.
Wow, and I mean, it would have been crazy how different things would have been had you gone with him early on. But
right. Trust me, he's still mad about it.
I'm sure he is.
When he loses a recruit, he don't forget.
Well, gosh, no, I mean that's amazing. And
I'll tell you another story that you need to tie into this. So, okay. And I got to give him credit. Stan Jones, our associate head coach, to be honest with you, has been a mentor to me also. And I'll tell you the story. In 1988, I'm at this camp called 5 Star, which was the big camp then. AAU hadn't really blown up. I'm so old. It was pre-internet. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't really, AAU wasn't big. It was just starting. And if you played in a high school program, especially a national high school program like Carroll City, back then, you didn't play AAU. Like, you went to team camp in the summer. You worked with your high school team in the summer. Like, the head coach at Carroll City, like, if an AAU coach was talking to one of his players, he might kill him. You know what I mean? So it was a different time. And so I go to this camp, and I'm like, from Miami, they think it's only football players, it's free internet. So I'm mad because I'm not ranked. So at the camp, I'm like so Miami. Like I'm competitive. I'm like, the South Florida spirit. You ever watch Scottie Barnes?
Oh,
Scottie
yeah.
Barnes, it's this most of the guys who from South Florida, Dade, Brown, Palm Beach, they have that competitive edge.
That extra juice.
Yeah, and I had that, to say the least. To say the least. So I go to the camp and I start saying, hey, I'm looking at the list, and these guy from Boston, guy from Rhode Island, guy from Philly, guy from New York, guy from Atlanta. And I'm saying, I'm better than these guys, you know what I mean? And so I'm in the camp, I'm starting to play well, and I'm starting to play well, and I'm letting them know I'm playing well, right? I'm letting everybody know, I'm playing well, to the point where I get in a couple tussles. I'm giving it to them. I'm from Miami. Y'all gonna respect me. And Stan Jones was a high school coach out of Memphis, and he coached the All-Star game. So he had coached me in the stations during the day. And so he was the guy. Every time I got into a ruckus or shoving match or whatever, he was like, hey, young man, come here. You got to learn I understand. He explained to me, I understand that you're competitive, but you got to build a reputation with all these coaches, all these media people. And he really guided me through. And I think I probably only made the All-Star game, even though I was starting fights all week, because of Stan Jones. And so Stan Jones, is kind of amazing how God works. So now, years later, I get into coaching, and Stan Jones, like, I remember you. But now he's a college coach. And so he starts mentoring me, and he says, hey, man, you need to make sure you build a relationship with Coach Hamilton, and you need to make sure that you learn from him. And, he is the one that kind of made sure that from a coaching standpoint that he put us together. So I owe a lot to Stan Jones, and that's why our staff is so good. We have a tremendous amount of chemistry. Stan Jones, our associate head coach, he's phenomenal. Really, really good. Steve Smith is a rising star. Mike Bradley is like a mad scientist, one of the best strength coaches in the country. The way he develops our guys physically, you think about the pros that we've developed. He's a big part of that, Mike Bradley. I mean, you look at the bodies of Malik Beasley, Jonathan Isaac, Dwayne Bacon, Terrence Mann, how they change over the course of the program. And that's Mike Bradley. Chuck Walsh, our SID. Leonard Hamilton has really put together a Fortune 500 company here. And that's why we have the success that we've had. And I don't know that he'll ever get the credit that he deserves for making Florida State a basketball powerhouse. We're an elite top 5, top 10 program now. Nobody ever thought they'd see that at Florida State. I mean, if somebody came back in a time machine and they saw Florida State basketball on top of Duke, on top of Carolina, they would be like, what is going on? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Jay Leonard Hamilton and I laugh all the time because we lost at Carolina, and we were pissed, we were devastated. But as I was walking off the court, I could hear the announcers and the TV people talking, and they were going crazy. And they said this. Now think about what I'm about to tell you. They said, massive upset today in Chapel Hill. Carolina beats Florida State. I'm like, Coach Hamilton looked at me. I said, we arrived, Chief. Yeah. We have arrived. And a couple years before that, we were 6th in the country, and we got upset at Syracuse. Syracuse, a basketball school, right?
Yeah.
They stormed the court. They stormed the court. So it's a new day in Florida State basketball. We the new bloods.
Oh, yeah.
We here. We ain't going nowhere. And they got to deal with us, whether they want to or not. You know what I mean? They got to deal with us.
Yeah, no,
So we're you know, I'm thankful to our fans and the support. We have phenomenal fans, phenomenal support. You know, everybody always talks about the negative, and we have people that criticize and ridicule. And, you know, when you're in athletics, you got to accept that. You know, that's part of it. But what I'll tell you is don't get emotional. Read the data. Florida State basketball has been 4 straight Sweet 16s and Elite Eight, ACC regular season title. We basically become the creme de la creme in the ACC. That's never happened in the history of Florida State University, ever. Hadn't happened in the history of basketball. So obviously we must be doing something right. Jalen Hamilton must be one of the greatest coaches to ever do it, and greatest CEOs, no matter what people's opinions are after we lose a game, which I don't pay attention. The best life advice I could give you in 2021 is don't read the comments.
Yeah, that's really great advice.
That's the best life advice that I can give you in any profession. Do not read the comments. The social media is messing up a lot of people's minds and ability to function because they're listening to some guy who's 39 years old, lives in the back room with his grandmother or his mother, and he works at Stanley Steamer. And you listening to this guy.
People get caught up in all the noise now, it seems like.
Yeah. It's sad. You know what? It's a big problem with our players and young people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I try to minimize my kids, my daughter and my sons on it because these kids, they compare themselves to each other. They get depressed. They get low self-esteem. Oh, I'm like, over this? Yeah. It's just, you got to really help young people with that.
And it is really
some adults and a lot of adults.
I'm sure, and it's got to be crazy, because even these college kids who you're coaching, they can pull up their Twitter or whatever, search their name, and see what everyone's saying about them at any time.
And it affects them right here.
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's something that you have to learn, and you really got to learn that to be successful now.
So you talked about Leonard Hamilton being, the head of a Fortune 500 company, and I've heard you use this term CEO just a few minutes ago, and when I was doing my research, I saw you used a lot. Can you just talk about what the difference is between a CEO and a head coach, and what makes Leonard Hamilton so great at both?
So I think, and I learned this in my 4 years as a head coach and CEO at Georgia Southern. In my experience as a head coach and CEO at Georgia Southern, I learned that I was a really, really good head coach. I was a terrible CEO, and at 37 years old, being the youngest Division I head coach in the country, first African American coach ever at Georgia Southern University, put a tremendous amount of pressure on myself. But from a CEO standpoint, I didn't do a good job. And that's one thing I'm thankful for is I get $1 billion education on how to be a CEO every day watching Jalen Hamilton. I think the biggest difference, to answer your question specifically, is having the ability to hire qualified people, trust them to do their job, delegate and manage every component of the program, but still have control of it. So make no bones about it. Stan Jones, Steve Smith, myself, we have a tremendous amount of freedom to do what we need to do in this program. I mean, I think he feels like he has 3 little head coaches. He really does. But make no bones about it, Jalen Hamilton runs the show here. Like, he's going to put the red marker on what he wants, what he doesn't want. I think baseball got it right. Baseball calls the head coach the manager. You never hear in baseball, they say the head coach is coming to the mound to talk to the pitcher because he getting hit home runs. He's coming out here to talk to this boy. You hear him say the manager is coming to the mound. So his ability to put the right people in place and manage those people, empower those people, but still manage them. His ability to have a pulse on every component of the program, from the GAs, the managers, the players, the coaches, the trainer, the support staff. His operation is so good because his ability to manage that and to, when you're a CEO, you can't make a bad hire. When you're a CEO, you got to have a relationship and a pulse on everybody in the program. It's a lot of people are not good CEOs because they don't have people skills. They don't have a pulse on what the trainer is going through. They don't have a pulse on what the walk-ons or the green team is going through. Right. They don't have a pulse on what the strength coach is going to do. These are all components of your program, right? So if you don't have a pulse on what's going on in the athletic training room as the head coach and CEO, you're going to have a problem. That's going to affect your team. And some people, it's either they don't care. So, a lot of people can coach the team, but their product in between the line is not what it should be because the CEO-ship is poor. Football coaches probably do a better job of being CEOs than basketball coaches. Right. Football coach, he hires an offensive coordinator. He hires a defense coordinator. He hires a special teams coordinator. And you almost got to find a way to do that in basketball.
Right.
To be a good head coach. And it takes experience. You got to have confidence. So that's been a huge in my growth, watching that materialize here. That answers your question.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think, like you said, the interesting thing is like that he's able to delegate, and he's able to self-assess himself and know what he needs around him and build that program. And, that's, like you're saying, with football coaches, they do such a great job of it. But with Leonard Hamilton, just covering him this year, yeah, he absolutely does like an incredible job of that. I mean, it's really amazing. Just, not because there's a difference between, like you said, being a head coach, because not anyone, but they're great head coaches, but then you have to go and be able to deal with the entirety of the program and the institution and just everything that revolves around it. But I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, which is, even before this season, mental health was such a big topic in sports, and with everything ratcheted up even more this year, how have you approached that aspect of being a coach and developing these kids? And then, how do, they deal with that growing isolation and that nature of being a basketball player?
It's tough. We've had to do a lot of interactive things, spend a lot of time together, a lot of long meals together, just to, have conversation, get off the social media, try to take our minds other places. During the bubble time, we did a lot of yoga together. I mean, it was really good. I mean, the whole team, Amanda Robinson, training staff, like, that was part of our daily routine. We ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner together every day. Yeah. We had practice and we had film and we had meetings. But at some point in the day, we would all get together and do yoga in the big conference room, and Amanda would set that up. And it was great. It really was. I mean, the guys were into it. You name it, they were there. Anthony Polite, Will Miles, MJ Walker, everybody was in there. It helped us mentally.
Yeah,
it really did. It really did, because it was tough.
Yeah, and they're really all more and more foreign players, coming to the pros every year, but also in college, like there's so many more international players coming overseas. I was just wondering if you could talk about Balsa and some of the other guys you've had to have come over, and just what that experience has been like, and just some more of the I guess unusual challenges, and maybe some of those language barriers that you might come across at first.
You know what? Balsa, his transition was pretty smooth because he had been here in this. He had gone to Mount Verde. He had gone to.
He was with Scottie, right? Yeah.
Yeah, university school. He had played AAU here, so his English was pretty good, and he had a good feel for everything. Tenor is Canadian by way of I guess Tenor is Senegal.
Right.
Yeah. But he had been in Canada.
That's where he was attending college before.
Yeah.
Right?
His transition. Now his transition was more on the court.
Right.
Because he had been playing at a smaller school in Canada. Those schools in Canada, those universities, that would be like almost like playing at St. Thomas University down in Thomasville, or one of the real smaller schools. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Stewart, Martin County High School.
Stewart, Martin County High School. Okay, yeah. Wow, I didn't know that. So what's down there in that area? Small schools like Palm Beach Atlantic or
Palm Beach Atlantic. I'm trying to think. I think really, I don't think FIU is too close to us, but those are some of the smaller, I guess, schools.
Yeah. Well, FIU is a low to mid major. It would be more like Weber International. Is that closer to you? Like that's the type of school Tenor was coming from.
Yeah.
But still, I didn't know you was from Stewart County. One of the best players ever in Georgia Southern's history is from Stewart County High School, Martin, Florida. Name is Don Wallen.
Really?
Don Wallen was the assist record holder at Georgia Southern. And when I was a freshman, I was looking in the media guide. I said, I'm going to break all these records by the time And Don Wallen was the guy. I said, I got to break his assist record. It was like 5'11". And so I finally broke it as a senior. But I know that Stewart County, Martin County High School, that's when I broke the record, he called me. And,
I'm sure.
Yeah, he was like a businessman in that area.
Yeah. No, and that's funny because there's almost no one. I think the only really recent athlete to come out was Justin Simmons, who ended up being a football player, but he was actually a basketball player too at Martin County High School. But I did want to make sure I asked you about this. How's the Black Lives Matter movement this year kind of helped empower your students and I guess change the power dynamic for them? How do you feel like it's affected them in that way?
I think it's been a positive effect, not just for Black students, but for every walk of life. A lot of people were uncomfortable with that, with the Black Lives Matter movement when it first started. But I think it's been good for white, Black, orange, and green just because of the awareness that it has brought. And I think it's brought attention to all the other areas too, women and females, all other minority entities that were discriminated upon. And look, it's 2021. The most important word in civilization is evolution. Cars get better, shoes get better, TVs get better, and we got to be getting better. And I love everybody. I ain't mad at nobody. I'm not trying to fight. It's just time as a collective, as Americans in a collective race, the human race, right? It's just time to get better. It's just time to evolve. It's just certain things that we just gotta let go and move past and get better. It's just like, technology. What kind of phone you have right now? You probably got an iPhone 12, right?
Yeah.
Right. If I took your iPhone 12 and gave you the iPhone 1, what would you say?
I'd be struggling. I'd
What
be
is this?
struggling.
Yeah. Like, I got, iPhones. When I was in high school, we used to carry beepers, pagers. Like you ain't even know what that is.
I know what a
You know?
pager is, Coach. I know
Yeah.
what a pager is, but I never, I guess for me, the
You,
home phone is where I cut off and end off for my technology. But no, I remember having our home phone back in elementary school, but no, not pagers, not for me.
yeah. You've never used a payphone. Right? You never stuck a quarter in a phone booth. You never been in a phone booth. You see
Nope.
what I mean? Like, hey, evolution, my man. So in terms of our thoughts and the things that we do and say and being held accountable for the words we use, all those things, it's time to evolve. I saw something, what breaks my heart more than anything is I see the hashtag, stop Asian hate. Like, we shouldn't have to say that. It's 2021. We shouldn't have to do that. That should be a part of the fabric of who we are. But, we're growing, we're maturing, we're developing. It's a shame that it's taken so long. It's a shame that people have had to endure so much pain. But I think the most important thing is that we evolve and move forward. So, to answer your question, I think the Black Lives Matter not only stirred up things and discussion and brought awareness to discrimination versus Black people, but it also did that for other entities and races and form. And I think that's the best thing about it. I think that's great. What I mean? I really do.
Well, and I think
Gotta evolve.
I'm trying to remember which of the players on the basketball team, but I remember one of them got involved with the ACC Advisory Committee on race.
Malik Osborne.
That's right, Malik. He got involved with that. I mean, so it just seems like, like just before our eyes, all these things are changing. You're seeing the students, the powers seems like it's going back in their hands more than ever.
Mm-hmm. No question. And I hope that trend continues. I think it's very important that it continues, just a constant conversation, and again, working with your class.
Yeah.
I mean, those sessions that we had with your class were very, very powerful. And I feel like the people and the students in that room are going to leave that room and they're all going to spread a message that needs to be heard. And I think those things will help make change. They got a saying, one man changed the world, and one man changed the world. And if we can just I know that I'm probably not going to be the guy to change the world, right? You got to have self-awareness. I'm just a raggedy assistant coach. You know what I mean? But I may spark the mind that changes the world. And that's what I try to do as I spend a lot of time with young people. Hopefully that I'm not going to change the world, but hopefully I spark the mind that changes the world. And that's a quote from Tupac, if you don't know where it's from. So educating you.
Oh yeah. No,
Give you some of your history. So I taught you about pagers. I taught you about the phone booth, and now I taught you Tupac. So you got to send me I'll send you the bill. I'll send you the bill.
Yeah. Invoice me. I got you, Coach. Don't worry. I'll take care of you. But, I do have to ask you about the new bloods, because that's a term I think, many people attribute it to Florida State, but you in particular were the one who kind of came up with that term and, made it really popular. So what do you think about it entering kind of the national zeitgeist and, just catching on, really, it seems like at the national stage? And what do you think it says about college basketball that, we're looking back on this season now, we're looking at a ACC championship with Georgia Tech and Florida State and a national championship with Gonzaga and Baylor. I mean, that 10, 15, 20 years ago, people would have been like, well, what are you talking about?
Right. Well, I think, first of all, no question, I think it's a great thing. And I think it speaks to a lot of the things we're talking about this morning on this interview and call, that evolution is the number one word in civilization. And I'm very proud that we are the new bloods. I'm very proud that we're tearing down that narrative that all there is to college basketball is the blue blood programs. No disrespect to those programs.
Right.
We have become the new bloods. We call ourselves the new bloods. We stand on that. We feel like our production over the last 7-8 years demands their respect and the national media's respect. And when we chant new bloods, that term, that phrase, it means a lot. We feel like we've connected the Florida State the Florida State alumni, the fans. We've connected our players, the former players. The chant new blood, it's the cries of Leonard Hamilton and his family. It's the cries of our basketball players that were here, that were trying to get over the hump, and was right there and didn't quite get it done, but did some phenomenal things here as a basketball program. I think it represents where we're going. Our program has changed. We're no longer a program that's trying to get into the NCAA tournament. 8 years ago, when I first got here, we used to whisper, "Hey, let's see if we can get in the tournament." If we don't get in the tournament, we go to NIT. And we didn't say it loud. We whispered it. Those days are gone. Now every year, we know the guys in this program, they know that we're playing for a national title. We want to win Leonard Hamilton a national title. We want to get him in the Hall of Fame. We want to finally get him the respect that he deserves. And we want Florida State basketball to be respected. And I think, we're going to finally have to, win a national title to really get it. But if you look at the production, the home record, we're like 77-4 at home in the last 5 years, and 30-something straight ACC wins, and ACC regular season title, and 4 straight Sweet 16s. And, if you look at the data, don't get emotional. This is not my opinion.
No, you're right, Coach. I'll let you talk in a sec, but you guys are, I think, 1 win away from tying Duke's all-time home record for ACC wins. So, there you go, right there. That's a prime example of the new bloods being front and center.
Yeah, no question. And so some people, it makes them uncomfortable. They don't like it. But don't get emotional. Read the data. The truth is the truth. Somebody has to tell the truth, and I believe this. If it wasn't Leonard Hamilton in Florida State, if it was another program doing the numbers that Leonard Hamilton and this program have done, what would be the narrative?
They would be talking about them like a blue blood and like a national program that everyone should be going to at the top of their conference.
Thank you. I love everybody. I ain't mad at nobody. I'm not trying to fight. They get uncomfortable when I say this to the national media. I'm telling you the truth, right? I'm telling you the truth. So how can you go into a preseason in Florida State not be ranked in the top 20? How could you do that? If you can read and write and do arithmetic, it's not right. Like every year we're gonna go through this.
Yeah.
Like, think of this. I'm gonna give you some data. So 5-6 years ago, right? We had a team with Jonathan Isaac, Dwayne Bacon, Xavier Reyes. So we get upset by Xavier in Orlando. Now we lose Jonathan Isaac, 6th pick in the draft, Dwayne Bacon, 40th pick in the draft, Xavier Reyes, two 10 days in the NBA, high level Europe. Michael Ojo, God bless the dead, I almost cried every time I say his name, who passed, high level Europe, and Jacquez Smith, Lakeland Magic G League. That's 5 pros.
Yeah.
We lost them. Everybody says, Florida State, they done. The next year we went to the Elite 8. Then we lose Brian Angola. Everybody said, oh, that Elite Eight, that was a fluke. They done. We go to the Sweet 16 the next year. So then we lose Fafanu Kamigeli, 27 pick in the draft, Terrence Mann, 48th pick in the draft, Phil Kofa, Memphis Hustle G League, David Nichols, mid-level Europe, PJ Savoy, low-level Europe. 5 pros. They say, oh, they done. I told y'all it was a fluke. We win the ACC regular season title the next year. So now they say, oh, they really done now. It's over, right? Ain't no way, right? We lose Patrick Williams, 4th pick in the draft. Devin Vassell, 11th pick in the draft. Trent Forrest, Utah Jazz, free agent. Dominic Olaniche, high-level Europe. We lose 4 pros. They say, they done. We go to the Sweet 16 the next year. It was an ACC title game. What? Don't get emotional. No. Read the data. That's consistent behavior.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means culture don't graduate. What does that mean? Nobody else in the country has lost as many pros as Florida State. Nobody else has developed as many pros at Florida State. So Jalen Hamilton, he's not a great coach. He's not a great developer of talent. He winds up in the ACC final after losing 4 pros.
Yeah.
Think about that now.
And like you just mentioned, Coach, there's a lot of guys who are 4-year guys who are coming through and going to the league. That doesn't happen much in college basketball anymore.
And in order for that to happen, there has to be a skill set here to coach, develop, and prepare. That's all I'm saying. Give Leonard Hamilton his flowers and his respect. Stop disrespecting us. Respect is the ultimate currency. Right. You think Leonard Hamilton coaching for money? No. I don't need no money. He coaching because he wants to. This is a huge part of Black history. What you're watching, right? What Jalen Hamilton has done for college basketball is the same thing Jackie Robinson did for baseball. But for some national, and maybe, we get frustrated. Maybe it's our location. Maybe because we're on the Panhandle and all the media members are in North Carolina. Maybe that's it. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think so, but all I'm saying is, do your job.
Yeah.
The data is right there in front of you.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. If you just took a school with a blank resume and you put a blank school and you put Florida State's resume on it, you'd be like, oh, that's one of the best programs in the entire country.
In the entire country. So let's have journalistic integrity. Right. Let's not put out inaccurate information. Right. I graduated from Georgia Southern University, got a broadcast journalism and a minor in journalism. The worst thing you can do in journalism is inaccurate information. We must have journalistic integrity. I love everybody. I ain't mad at nobody.
No.
Not trying to fight.
But people gotta catch up with Florida State basketball.
That's hard. Tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, a guy like me, I get out and I say the things that I say, and they say, oh, he's angry. No, listen.
No.
I've said it several times. I love everybody.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at nobody.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to fight. I just want to help you guys with your journalistic integrity. I want you to have credibility.
Yeah, you don't want these media guys looking silly. You want them to be correct.
That's all I'm saying. See, me and you, we here, baby.
Yeah.
Can't be here. Be here. We got to be right here. You see what I'm saying?
No, I got you exactly, Coach. And I got this last question for you. And I think, we can talk a little bit more about some of the other stuff with it, but so I talked about the new bloods, of course, but another term I've heard for your team, and I think on social media maybe the most, is Big Guard U. You see all these former players who are calling yourselves Big Guard U. So what do you think it is about Leonard Hamilton's program that brings success for these, long, athletic, big guards, and why do so many pro guys seem to fit in the system?
Well, and again, you got to give credit to Leonard Hamilton and his staff.
Oh, he adjusted
right?
big time.
You
That's
the evolution
right.
to see the game. Leonard Hamilton was one of the first college coaches to see positionless basketball coming down the pike, and he said 10 years ago, we need to recruit long, lanky, athletic guys that can play multiple positions, that can guard every spot, and we got to develop their skill to get them ready for where they're going. So there's a certain recruiting, formula that we have when we go out. We know, we look at certain guys and we say, that's a new blood, right? Scottie Barnes, we saw him, the whole staff recruited him at birth. We didn't recruit him. Yeah, we was in the delivery room when Scottie Barnes was born, and we offered him, hey, you're a new blood, right? But we and I'm just joking when I said it, but probably 7th, 8th grade, most of the guys, Terrence Mann, Dwayne Bacon, Jonathan Isaac, we were locked into these guys as 9th graders. And you gotta give Leonard Hamilton credit for evolving into that and taking a 6'9" guy that plays power forward his whole life and develop him as a point guard, because it's going to be better for his future. Right. Most people take a 6'9" guy and they stick him up under the basket. We try to win, but also do what's best for the kids. So Raquan Gray, you're going to think I'm a psychic. Raquan Gray is going to sneak up the NBA draft boards, and everybody's going to be shocked every year.
Everyone's going to be shocked by him, man. He's
a pro.
He's his body, he's already a pro.
Yeah. So, and most people don't know that when they should. Shame on them for not understanding it. But again, the NBA draft will come around, and you'll see the guys out of our program that's drafted, and you'll be calling me saying, you guys are doing it again. There's 2-3 guys drafted from Florida State. But Leonard Hamilton and his staff doesn't get credit for developing these guys. And they want to say, Florida State had so much talent. Devin Vassell was a 2-star player. Nobody wanted Devin Vassell.
Raquan Gray, he wasn't exactly the highest recruited guy either.
But they come here and they develop. And so if you see these guys consistently coming through the program and they're developing, Devin Vassell went from being recruited by Presbyterian in North Florida to being the 11th pick in the draft.
Hell of a recruiting battle for you, Coach.
Mfiondu Kamengele. He came here and developed into a pro. He had Belmont in Vermont.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if a guy comes into your program and he turns into that, how can you not be a great coach or developer? How?
Yeah.
Can you help me? I want help me, man. I just want to understand.
I don't understand it because Coach, I'm a student here, but both my parents are Florida State alumni. I know all about the Seminole basketball. So I certainly don't understand that narrative. But I think it's so interesting because it seems like, Leonard, like you mentioned, Leonard Hamilton, he's taking aspects of the future of the NBA game and the pro game, and he's taking it and he's bringing it to the college level and he's exploiting it, and he every time I watch you guys this year, every time I preview a game and I talk to someone about it, I say Florida State can win almost any game they're in this year because they have as good athletes and as talented as players as almost anyone else on the court at any time.
And so, knowing that, how can the narrative written not be Leonard Hamilton is one of the best college coaches, innovators, developers in the country?
Yeah.
Why they would say, oh, he's a great recruiter?
But it's not only that, like you're saying, he's taking these guys, these, like I said, these big, rangy, long, athletic, just hyper athlete guys, and he's taking them and putting them in winning situations all the time. I mean, just the way you guys have even changed your transition game in the last 10 years, I'm sure, has been crazy. And just seeing all these different types of guys who are like almost the same version of themselves, but all at different types of heights and, different skill sets that are like you said, Leonard Hamilton, he saw ahead. He saw this interchangeable basketball culture where, for you guys, it's having Balsa and 4 guard players, who can go out and do all those different things and just have a range of skill sets. So yeah, but it's
people and people have the audacity when we lose a game to say, "Hey, fire Ham," or "Ham can't coach," or this and that. Let me explain something to you. We've been at the top of the ACC. I just, it's comical to me, so I'm having this comment. Oh, yeah. We've been on top of the ACC. So if Leonard Hamilton can't coach and we can't coach,
no one can coach in the ACC.
Well, that means Boeheim is behind us. That means he can't read and write. That means Krzyzewski is behind us. That means Roy Williams is behind us. The boy Chris Mack is behind us. Tony Bennett is behind us.
Josh Pastner, yeah, all these guys.
They're behind us now. You know what behind means? See, behind me, I got to look back at you. So if we can't coach, it's comical. But hey, best life advice I can give you in 2021: don't read the comments.
Don't read the comments. Yeah, and I do really I appreciate you saying that, Coach. I definitely got to do a better job of doing that myself. But
yeah. See, I got to help you.
I'll end on this. We talked about it earlier, but with mental health, with social media, how do you keep these guys from going and looking at their phones all the time? And because hey, Coach, I know I'm certainly bad at it myself, but I couldn't imagine being a potential future NBA player and seeing everything anybody could ever say about you at any time. I'm sure that mental dynamic, it's got to be, it's so different from even 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's got to be crazy.
It's tough. It's very difficult. I don't know if we can win that battle. You can educate them.
Right.
And we take their phones as much as possible before games, before meetings, and all that. But
no Coach, when it's at halftime for you guys,
it's like a drug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, listen, I have a social media presence myself because I have to recruit.
Right.
The only reason I was able to sign Patrick Williams was Instagram.
Really?
I couldn't get him on the phone. So I had to direct message him on Instagram, and then he would, because he saw me on Instagram and we communicate on Instagram, he would call me. But nobody talked to Patrick Williams. He didn't like to talk. So the only way I broke him down was to communicate with him on IG. I had to wait and look for that little green light.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there go Patrick Williams.
Yeah, you're getting right to it.
Now, if Coach CY is not on Instagram, Patrick Williams goes somewhere else. Think about that now. That's how important social media is. And just to verbalize that. But if I was not on Instagram,
yeah,
Patrick Williams is not on Florida State. I believe that wholeheartedly.
That is
no. Patrick Williams does not answer his phone or talk on the phone.
So there's only one way to get to him, and you did it.
Instagram. Wow. I used to go to the gym to see him and I'm talking about everybody, Louisville, Ohio State, everybody in the gym, and I could hear them whispering, "Is anybody talking to this kid? I can't get him on the phone."
No one's talking to him.
I'm like, I am. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I ain't gonna tip you off, but hey, check out Instagram. But
follow the green light, buddy. Follow the green light. That was the key to Patrick Williams. Wow. So
Well, and even within that social media, there's like this whole, AAU culture that's come up now, and it's got, I mean, it's so different from when you were coming up, like you said, as a high school player. There wasn't that AAU culture that there is now, so it's got to be so different from what you were even dealing with back in the day.
no question, man. We didn't have social media and YouTube and all that stuff. Patrick Williams thought I was cool because I was on Instagram. You know what I mean? He's like, coach.
He's like, hey, this coach is on Instagram. He's
cool. I mean, coach, I was certified because I was on Instagram. He's like, coach, I seen your post. That was crazy. You know what I mean? Like he loves, coach, I seen your story. I learned how to do a story. Patrick Williams taught me that.
Really?
I didn't know.
Really?
He's like, yo, coach, you can put it on your story and then it will go away.
No, I was like, coach, I follow you on IG, so I see you posting about your guys all the time. I mean, you love it. You love giving your guys props. So I mean, yeah, that's got to change the game for even you, right, man?
Yeah, no question. And I'm able to stay ahead of the curve in recruiting because I know what's going on, because I follow the social media. You can follow the other kids. You can tell. Like I tell my wife this all the time. She gets mad at me. I'm like, I gotta work.
I got my job. No, I mean, hey, I get the same thing, coach. It isn't exactly the same for my job, but I spend way too much time on social media. And at a certain level, I'm like, man, what am I doing with myself? But then I'm also like, you know what? I gotta try and build those relationships, gotta, reach out to different people. And it's so interesting how like everything in the world is changing. You can talk to anybody at any time. I mean, I don't want to say that's part of the reason why we're having this conversation, but like in this digital world we live in, like it's crazy the conversations and the interactions you have with people. It's
some of it I fight.
Right, right.
I mean? Like all my players, like, coach, you be on Twitter and social media, but you don't have no blue check. You got to get a blue check. I'm like, I'm not getting a blue check.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I'm not stooping that low. Like I'm not buying that one. If you ever see me with a blue check, just know I'm recruiting the #1 player in the country, and that's the only reason I got the blue check.
Right.
To impress the recruit. But my players like, coach, you need to get the blue check. And I'm like, what's the blue check? What's the big deal? You get a blue check, man. You'll be the man if you get the blue check. I'm like, all right, I'll think about it.
Hey, not many assistant coaches with blue checks. You can get if you get your game up on that, man. Hey, you can get all the other recruits will be looking and be like, hey, we see. I know Coach Hamilton. He's already verified on Twitter, but I mean, he's like, hey, you see the assistants. Hey, like everyone at Florida State is on their social media game. But
bro, you're trying to influence me to get the blue check. See, I got to stop hanging out with you now.
I'm just saying it could help your recruiting coach. That's just my 2 cents, but I'm just saying. But right. I mean, hey, you even see Leonard Hamilton. Now, I see him tweeting all the time now. I mean, that's crazy to me. But man, and I gotta say, I haven't mentioned it at all this interview, but it really has just like this has been my first year covering for Florida State. I started in November now, and just my interactions with coach and all the stuff that I've gotten to do this year, it's been amazing. I mean, and not just, getting to go to all the games and all that stuff, but what Coach Hamilton does with media, he's just, he respects me. I'm a student reporter as much as anyone else, any of these, longtime Tallahassee media people. And he gives just as much thought and energy and attention to my answers as anyone else. And it's just been, man, it's been an incredible experience, really. I mean, he is just the best to work with. And I'm not just saying that to say that, I could come on here and say whatever, right? But Coach really, I mean, he's just, it's been an incredible experience with him this year. I just want to make sure I said that to you because he really is the best. I mean, he's just, he's a great man. He's a great ambassador for Tallahassee.
I appreciate you saying that. His humility is off the charts, man. It really is. And
how is he doing right now?
The more you give, the more you receive. I think he's always going to be blessed because he just gives so much. No matter what they say about him on social media at times.
Well, and he's going through his own thing right now. He's I mean, is he going through surgery right now, or what's going on with that?
Yeah. He's getting better. He's getting better, but he's definitely having to manage a bunch. And
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I really do appreciate you doing this. I mean, this was
No
a
problem, man.
fun conversation. We got to talk a lot about a lot of different stuff, but just do want to give a shout out to Professor Davis Huck. He's the only reason you and I even are having this conversation right now, and the only reason I'm at this job right now. I mean, I got to invoice him later. I'm working on that. Don't worry, Professor. I got you. I'm just 10% away for you. But hey, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. It was awesome to talk to you. And any other time you love to talk basketball, man, I had a great time, and I'm sure we can find another time to get together soon. It's been